Welcome to this edition of Canola TV, featuring the latest information on producing and marketing winter canola in the Southern Plains. Canola TV, a service of PCOM, Producers Cooperative Oil Mill.
Welcome back to Canola TV. Joining us today, Heath Sanders with PCOM, and we're standing in one of Heath's fields here in Oklahoma County, looking really good right now, and it's various stages of development. Heath, for a guy that's out there looking at his canola fields, what does he need to be paying attention to right now as we are hitting mid-March right on into April?
Well, Ron, in the past week or so, I've gotten a lot of phone calls of guys calling in and asking about putting those last applications of Roundup on. Guys, it's time to get that done right now. I mean, if some of these varieties are bolting and just almost blooming, if you haven't got it done, you really need to make sure that you get your herbicide application. And some guys are going ahead and putting down some fertility. This whole year, everything has been ahead of schedule, and when the crop goes ahead of schedule, it puts all of us agronomists and farmers behind schedule, and so we have to make up for lost time. But if you haven't got the fertility out there yet, make sure that you get that. Go ahead and get that put on, and hopefully we'll get some good rains to wash that in, because the canola is going to utilize it one way or the other. Another thing to be looking for pests. I've been seeing some fields that were not sprayed in the fall or this spring that's got some diamondback moth larvae problems. Those are pulling down these plants more than we think. And, an insecticide application, if you're finding those worms out there and you're making that Roundup run, go ahead and put that in, take care of those worms. I haven't seen a lot of aphids as of yet. Looking out through some of these plots, I started finding a few today, and that was mostly on untreated canola seed that did not have an insecticide seed treatment in the fall. So the guys that planted non-treated seed, they better be watching, looking under the leaves of the canola plants, looking for those aphid populations, because I would suspect that they're probably getting ready to explode. Now,
when you start seeing aphids, how many aphids is that maybe threshold where we need to start looking at spraying?
Yeah, if we go off of Oklahoma State University's recommendations, 100 to 120, 30, 40, 50 per plant. A lot of farmers, when they start seeing aphid problems, they don't wait around very long, because those numbers, just explode within a few days. But look for hot spots. Look for places in the field that doesn't look right. Areas the size of a basketball to the size of a dining room table or something like that. And you'll notice that the plants don't look right. Look under the leaves. Look for things that doesn't look right out in your field. If you're having trouble finding aphids, the main thing to do is try to get an insecticide application on that as soon as you can. Make sure you have good coverage. I like to run a ground rig because I can put on more water and blast that coverage down there under those leaves a little bit better. If you're running the plane, try to get the applicator to run as much water as he can. 5 gallons if he'll do it. Sometimes they don't like to, but we got to have the coverage, and also when he's flying that on, run wingtip to wingtip. With these pyrethroid insecticides, that is basically a contact. You have that insecticide has got to touch the aphids in order to kill it, and so the better the coverage, the better job these guys are going to do at controlling these aphids. Right. If we start seeing them coming up.
So be scouting right now. That's what you got to do. Be scouting,
double check. Make sure you're looking at this canola at least once a week. I like to look at it at least a couple times a week. Familiarize yourself with what's going on out in your field, and look at the changes that's going on with your plant. As we get into this canola from bolting to blooming, then we start looking at cabbage aphids. If we have a flush of cabbage aphids, and those producers and agronomists need to be looking in the tops of the buds of those canola plants to look for the aphids. A lot of times they'll be on a stalk, sporadic or erratic through the field, but just be looking up in the buds, because that's where a lot of times the beneficiary bugs cannot get up in there to get those aphids. So that's just some things to be looking at as we progress and go through the springtime.
Okay, Very good. Heath, appreciate your time today. Heath Sanders joining us today from PCOM. I'm Ron Hayes on Canola TV.
Canola TV, a service of PCOM and produced by OklahomaFarmReport.com.